Good evening, everybody, and a big welcome to another show from Kahani Kancheti. Now, for those of you all who are joining us for the first time, I think I should tell you a little about Kahani Kancheti. Kahani Kancheti is a digital platform where we discuss anything and everything from which can be covered under what is called broadly art and culture, which would mean books, poetry, cinema, theater, performing arts, visual arts, popular culture, the works. And what do we do in as a part of so-called covering everything art and culture? We have a website www.kahanikancheti.in where we review books, review cinema, write blogs, get photographers to put up their pictures, even artists uh, put up their paintings, and so on and so forth. And almost every week we have one live chat where we have a chat with an author to talk about the book, to talk about the work. We talk about, discuss works of various kinds of people, music. We have had sessions over here on the blues and Robert Johnson, and on theater, on almost everything. So that is what Kahani Kancheti is into. And those of you all joining us for the first time, my request will be, please go to our uh, YouTube channel, see our videos, subscribe, and like and follow us on Facebook, and do visit our website once in a while. All right, having said all that, what are we doing today? Today, we have a very interesting session. And we are discussing how you can learn tennis in 40 days. Now, how far that is true and how that can really be done, we will find out very shortly. And there is one slight change, not change, there is one correction. One of our guests, Shurujit Sen, will not be joining us today, but we have Amuda Khanna, who will be with us in a few minutes from now. So let me first tell you something about Bob Seshadri. Well, he's the author of this book. More interestingly, Bob Seshadri and I actually go back, and this is very interesting. We go back something like about, I think, 65, 66 years. That is probably giving out both our age at this point of time, but chalo, kya hai? We have both grade. Though, just before we came onto the show, Bob was actually singing Full Blasted Lipstick on My Collar by Connie Francis. So that just establishes the era that we are coming from. And if I and Bob were both to say that, excuse me, who is the first friend in your life? I will name Bob, Bob will name me. And we call each other by some different names. Let me tell you, those names will be slipping out as we talk. So, what is tennis and Bob doing? Well, he has done so many other things also other than tennis. But well, if you want to know why Bob is my first friend and I'm his first friend, because I think we were pushed on a perambulator by our respective mothers to a school on the same day the school opened, and that school happens to be South Point School. Anybody from South Point? Hello. Uh, the interesting part is that Bob went on to become a tennis player, and he was a ranking player. And of all the people he has played everybody, because he has been ranked in Bengal under 13, he has been ranked in Bengal under 17, he has been a part of the Indian contingent somewhere, and this was when the tennis was, tennis. We'll talk about all that because he has written a book on tennis, but more importantly, he has written something on life work balance. But then he has also done a lot of other things. He has been selling, well, Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep to the sheikhs in Middle East. How he does that, we don't know, but he has done it. He has worked in Dunlop for very many years. He was their branch manager in Bangalore after moving out from Kolkata. Another important thing about him is that he has been modeling. At one point of time, he was the big time model that we had in the city of Kolkata. And I want to show you some of those ads. And I'm sure many of you all who are from our era whatever that era is, would love this. So let me just pull up one of two of those uh, old ads, so to say, and let me start with this one. Anybody remembers this particular ad? It's time for the taste giver. The Wills Flake at one point of time a top seller cigarette in the country, and that person who is smoking is Mr. Bob Seshadri. So that's Bob there, and I want to bring in some more of Bob's ads. And this is another ad with the Wills filter. This is something interesting about this ad. It's actually there you are. That's the ad again. Will's Flake, and please note this is what is called an art pull. This is a collector's item. The reason it's a collector's item because that has got that HTA, which is now JWT Calcutta office. It's from the guard book, so you can see what in those days used to be called an art pull. So this is a very archival sort of a situation because there is an art pull involved. And maybe many of you all will also remember this third picture, something that we have been able to retrieve with Bob's help is, I think this is possibly Taj Mahal tea. Sometimes in the early 70s, this picture was very much around. That's Bob Seshadri for you. And I have got two more pictures to share with you before we go on to calling him and Amuda on screen. And that is his this is he has been selling vehicles to the police in Sharjah, and that's a proper corporate Bob sitting there with the cop and the sheikh, I presume, sitting behind him. Well, that's what he has been doing, interestingly. And of course, there is another one which I can't miss, no matter how much I try to do this fast, but you all must see this one. This is the Bob with a sheikh. Well, who sheikh? We don't know. There are all sheikhs in the Middle East, and Dubai and Muscat. They are the places where he has worked for years together, doing all that, and even doing something called the Desert Rally. Oh boy! Okay, now let me bring you in, Mr. Bob Seshadri. Okay,
Hi. Hi. How are you all doing?
Okay, great. Please keep sending your comments on the side, and we will be putting them up as we chat along. And let me also bring in Amuda at this point of time. Poor girl, she must be waiting on the side. Well, Amuda is in the stream. There you're, Amuda. That's right. Okay, right. Sorry for. Okay. Now, let me put in a couple of words on Amuda. Amuda she is the founder director of Axeles Mavens, and she's also the co-founder of Freshly Frozen Food. Did I get that right, Amuda? Freshly Frozen Food?
Absolutely, bang on.
Super, there we are. And that includes ready to cook, masala, chicken, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And what is the brand, Amuda, for this?
So Freshly is our own brand.
Okay.
So I'm a South Indian married to a Punjabi, and I guess Punjabis are known for very rich food, and that's how the idea came up. And today we have entered into the frozen food section, especially because he's from the food industry, so it helped us. Well, I can't say about everybody else, but definitely I get to eat a lot of delicious stuff.
Excellent. Home. Great. So, Amuda, we will take on Bob Seshadri, right? I will take on his past, which I've already dwelt upon slightly, and the good past. And I've also told everybody that he was just singing out lipstick on my collar. That's number one. Number two is that I want you to talk to him about this particular book about tennis in 40 days, which is what we are technically discussing. But before we get on to that discussion, I have a question for you, Bob, before I let Amuda take over. And both of you all, I want to talk about the entire series of books that you have been doing after you, I mean, you're not retired. I'm not saying you're retired because yous and I's never retire. So we keep doing something, and the day we stop doing all that, that is the last day in the world. So, having said that, you think this, what is this work life balance that you're getting into? Number one, I know you're writing some more books on, training people up, but tell me something. Have you really been bullshitting? Tennis in 40 days? Tennis in 40 days, Babuji, and I have not been able to hold my racket properly. And you've written a book, and there are people buying. Oh, come on, man. This
Okay.
is this is
All
just
right.
too much.
Now,
Go
first
ahead. Go
correction.
ahead.
Okay, first correction. It
Okay.
is it is called improve your tennis in 4 weeks. Improve your tennis. Okay, I didn't say you can learn tennis in 40 days. I said improve your tennis.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Corrected.
first. Having said that, the reason why I started off on this venture is that when I used to see all my friends, I used to watch them, recreational players when they were playing tennis. They used to have a number of issues, not like not being able to reach the ball on time, hitting the ball under the net, outside the court somewhere, hitting the frame of the racket, getting too close. There were n number of challenges that they were going through. I said, look, and then what was happening was they used to curse each other. They used to curse themselves. I mean, it used to be a thing like, God damn it, go back, go to sleep. This is not for you. Now, you're out there to enjoy the game, right? You're out there to enjoy the game. You're there to learn to do better. Now, what happens is there are some of us who have been fortunate enough to be coached, and there are some who have not been that fortunate, and they have learned tennis on their own. So they have picked up tennis from the YouTube, they've picked it up from various places, and imitate others playing. They look at these aspects. So what is it that you need to do to improve? Now, if I go to somebody and say, okay, hey, your grip is totally wrong, you've got to change your grip to completely to something else, he's not going to be able to hit that ball for another 6 months, by which time he'll lose interest in the game and he'll go away. So I said, let me educate people about the grips. I started from there. Actually, I started from selection of a racket. I said that, look, let's start looking at the kind of racket that you're now. If you've already bought one, I'm not saying go run away and buy another one, but see what is around. And then here are the kinds of different grips that you need to hold to hit different strokes. I went with that. I also said, now, if you have a grip that you're very comfortable with, develop on that. Now, few things happen, Bhuttu. Yeah, I said those words are going to slip. Is that when people watch tennis, what do they do? They watch their favorite players, and they would like to imitate them, right? Now, when you are imitating them, it's a very difficult thing to do. Why? Because each body constitution is built in a separate way. You may be comfortable hitting a ball in a certain way, the other, your hero, may not be able to do what you can do because you're built different and he's built different, he or she is built differently. But at the same time, if you look at the fundamentals of the game, if you look at the fundamentals of the game, if you look at the fundamentals of how your hero is playing or she is playing, what does she do? When does she get ready to receive the ball? When does she turn? When does she move forward? How does the torso turn? Those are the fundamentals. So I have emphasized that you look at those fundamentals and then you work forward with that particular game. And then you use your own style using those fundamentals which are necessary for any sport. So
Okay.
I proceeded from that point. I went right from selection of the racket to the grips to the stance. How do you wait? Most of us, Bhuttu, if you see, all of us, we stand flat footed on the court. We are not on our toes. So by the time the ball reaches us, we are too close or we are too far or we can't reach it on time. So what do you do for that? So what should be your stance?
Right.
Why do you hold your racket in the way you're supposed to hold? How does it help you to do what you are doing? So I've answered, I've taken each of the challenges that people face and I address them one by one.
So it's
Give it
almost like a manual. It's almost like a manual as to,
almost like a manual.
from the racket right up to
Right,
the,
yeah, right up to
yeah.
tennis etiquettes. I've ended it with tennis
Oh, I
etiquettes.
see.
Now, what
Excellent.
happened is
Excellent.
in our time, there was something called etiquettes. We used to say thank you and please. Those words seem to be missing nowadays, a lot. Tennis is a lot similar like that. There are etiquettes that you follow. There are methods that you do when, as a spectator, or as a player, or as a partner. There are etiquettes for each one of them. How is it that you throw the ball back to your partner? How is it that you throw the ball back to your opponent? Now, the point is, during matches, the initial matches are always self umpired. It's only later on that umpires are appointed.
Right.
So,
Right.
so how do you do those later? How do you speak softly? I mean, on a tennis court, suppose four people are playing a point, you don't rush across. You wait for the point to finish and then you kind of quickly go across and sit on the other. These are the small things. Any game, wherever it may be, wherever people are playing, these are etiquettes that people need to follow. So I ended it with etiquettes. I started with rackets, ended, and of course, the by that time the book was so large that I couldn't go with the strategies part of it. I've explained how to hit a backhand, forehand, but then there are game strategies. Now that's another story.
No, no,
For that,
absolutely.
for
Because I
that,
remember, yeah, yeah, but I know you're writing another book. Now, before I call in Amuda, there is a small point that has come from our friend Ashish Gupta, who has
yeah,
just, yeah, Ashish has wished us all the very best to Bob and the team. Thank you, Ashish, for joining us today.
yeah.
And before I
I
call
must
in
say,
Amuda, yeah,
I must say one thing about Ashish. This
yeah,
boy has, I mean, that is one classic example of a person who, without a formal coaching, has started playing tennis. And if I'm not mistaken, within a span of 3 months, I think, he's top spinning and being able to control the ball so well. Now, mind you, he's been attentive and he's been going through the basics. He follows the basics. So this is something that excellent. I mean, I just thought I'll mention this on air.
super, super. And we, of course, have Rupa saying it's a good show, that you are doing well. You're doing pretty well, Babuji. Acha,
Rupa is,
now,
Rupa is incidentally Shurujit's cousin.
oh, I see. All right. Okay. Okay. We are missing Shurujit, but I'm sure we'll catch up with him some other day. Amuda, your microphone is switched off. Your microphone there you are.
I gentlemen
Okay.
to catch up for some time and to give them some time on while
Okay.
they're
Right. Okay. What I want to know, Babuji Bob has done a series of books on this
Mhm.
life work balance. How important is this work life balance that we keep hearing about these days, more so after the pandemic? And what is his contribution that you see as somebody who has worked with him at some point of time, known him for a long time? How do you see this work life balance thing really working out?
Uh, well, First of all, thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity. Uh,
You're always
absolutely,
welcome.
absolutely honored to be a part of it. Um, there are a couple of things probably I would like to bring into your notice while we talk about this work-life balance. Now, post pandemic, let's talk about that, and then I'll talk about Bob again, that how he brings the balance into Excellence Mavens. I'll also talk about it. But when we talk about the work life balance, I feel the generation Z that we have today, or the generation that we are into, there are a lot of terms which are just just blown out of proportion without even understanding what does it mean, right? For example, a kid today might walk up to you and say, "Hey, I am stressed." And you're still wondering that, from where did you get to hear this word called stress? And they suddenly say that, "I'm too stressed. I don't know what to do." You hear so many news about, the kids jumping off the terrace and, stuff like that. So I think even the work life balance, if I bring it back to the topic again, it is also a topic which is kind of blown out of proportion. And it has even been into the McKinsey study now, where they do an actual study to figure it out, what is it all about. So first of all, work life balance, I think what is most important in any terminology that we are talking today is to simplify at the first place. Work is work, you have a life, and how do you manage is it work life balance. Now, so it's very easy to say do not take your work back home and don't take your home back to work. It's easy said than done. But how do you balance it? It's all about work life balance. So I personally believe that you need to simplify things in your life. You need to simplify the terminologies, the way you talk, the way you interact with people. I think because of the technology also, I think we have overcomplicated things for some reason, and it's the overcomplication which actually does not allows you to maintain the work life balance. For example, I will sacrifice on my sleep to go to the gym. Hang on, I am not going to gym to look perfect. I am going to the gym because I want to update it on my Facebook or on my Twitter or on my Instagram. So probably once you stop doing that and you actually go to the gym or you do a yoga for yourself by not sacrificing your sleep, I think this work life balance is going to be uh, is actually going to fall in place. It's going to fall in place,
Right,
is
right,
my
right,
thought on it.
right. But tell me, these books that Bob Seshadri has been writing, he has written a number of books on this work-life balance. And this is a question to you also, Babuji. Um, how are people accepting these books? I mean, how are these books happening?
Let me put it this way. What I did was I related my experience. I'll quickly relate an experience
Right,
and what prompted me to write the book, and I mentioned it there. Um, there was a time when I was in Dubai when used to work. Um, I was launching Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep at that time, and then I used to work right through, and used to be very late coming back home. My child was growing up. I wasn't being able to spend much time with her, and I used to come back in the morning, and then this, and I used to love. I used to be passionate about whatever I was doing, but there was something that was missing. I would complete everything all over, everything, all my work assignments, everything would be over, but there would still be something missing. And that something I identified was something that was with the family that I was missing. So that time the thoughts started churning. I said, hey, maybe I need to manage my time better. So obviously, now the thing is, there used to be a gentleman called Arthur Turvey. I remember because at one time I had an issue where the blessed car would just the engine would stop. I mean, you're driving a 3.5 liter engine at 120 kilometers an hour, and suddenly the damn thing, the engine would switch off. And if the engine switches off, your power steering also switches off, and you somehow bloody well get to the side of the road, and then breathe a sigh of relief and call up the general manager for that company and give him help. So I was going through such lots of turbulent times at a point. So this is what prompted me to start thinking about writing this book.
right.
So this is
Yeah,
the beginning. This is the beginning.
Amuda, your no, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
I'm extremely sorry. So I think
No,
Bob
no.
is being very candid when he mentioned about it. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to be very candid. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But at some point of a time, it's not about the kind of an efforts, the working hours Bob has put. At times we all get that, a realization which happens to all of us, which happened to Bob as well, which in case he would like to bring it on, he can always do that. We all have done, like I've broken my knee. That is when I realized how life is important. So we all have faced some kind of a hit back, and that is when we started realizing it, that how important it is. But trust me, you think easy way, easy say, I mean, did this realization came very easy to us? No, it did not. Until I broke my leg, I did not realize that I need to take some rest. Correct me, Bob. You're
No, you're perfectly all right. I realized it when I had a heart attack. My first heart attack when I was
absolutely.
yeah,
That's the
when I
point
had
I
my
was
first
coming up to.
yeah.
So even Bob, if you talk about him, he is still one of those. So we get a lot of discipline from him because being youngsters, we have this very less patience. We when we look at a screen, our concentration levels have gone very low, and but Bob brings a lot of discipline into the system, and I think he has taught us how to do the work life balance now. With his help and support, now we are also trying to balance it. There are certain days when I would call him, say, hey, this work is pending, that work is pending. He's like, all right, hang on, Kanna, go take some rest, no problem, we'll do it tomorrow. So like he said, it didn't this realization doesn't come very easy to us.
Right.
Either some Sushant Singh Rajput or some Siddharth Shukla happens, and we start thinking about our life. Or like
Yes.
today, I went out with my friends, and the only thing we spoke about is Siddharth Shukla for some reason. We said, look at that man, he lost his life at the age of 40. So I think it is time for us to also go out, hang out a little, have some breather, have some beers, coffees, chais, whatever you want. Just breathe, just laugh, just smile, have some time for yourself.
See,
Sure.
what I
Sure.
brought back here, Muttu, if I may, I mean, it's all very well, as Amuda pointed out somehow. How do you do it? The question is, it's very easy. We say that we must get into work-life balance. We can beat our heads, okay. But how do you do it? Okay, by managing time. All right. Anything else? Yes, by making sure that you've got your schedule set, that you don't step over the schedule. Right. Very good. And what else? Being in the present moment. Don't think about your past. I mean, like, say we have workshop advisors, we have um, service advisors, as we used to call them, who would be waiting. And the service advisor's job is one of the most tiresome job, because that guy is sitting there facing complaints after complaints, day after day. Any guy who comes to see him has a complaint. A service advisor is receiving cars in the workshop because that guy has a problem, besides the routine service, but he has a problem. And every single person seems to have with a motor car, they have some issue to talk about. Now, how do you handle him? Look at his stress level. Now, he becomes all sullen and he'll go totally, and then at some point, he will stop reacting to that guy, to the customer who's coming in. So how do I set it right? Because I need to be different. The competition is hard. I need to be different to a customer. So how do I bring him into a situation where he's in the present moment, not thinking about anything else, being in a positive frame of mind and everything? What happens? How do you do that? Where is the connection between your body and the mind? It's called the breath. And then, of course, I was influenced by Mr. Sri Ravi Shankar, who then talked about, when I talked about, then I started learning pranayama. I started learning the breathing techniques. And the breath is like a string in a kite. I mean, you're handling that, your mind is the kite which you're handling and bringing it down. Now, you have to put it in a language which is acceptable to very many foreign nationals. How do you do that? So how do you bring them in?
Right.
So there is a lot of breathing technique, pranayama. Why? Breathing technique, come on. All of our parents have always told us when we were kids, isn't it? Take a deep breath and let go. You'll feel better.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've always told us this.
Yeah.
Now we
Right.
just put it into a certain pattern and make it work. So coming back to that, being in the present moment. Lot of people have written books about it, lots have spoken about it, but yes, one must get it down, do it. I mean, like, say, uh, uh, we can read a lot, but we need to practice what we preach. We have to practice what we learn. Otherwise, what's the use of learning? Right?
Well, right, you're right, and I must tell you something. I think what we are discussing right now has taken what I had planned for this book to another level. We are suddenly moving up the scale. I must tell you that both Babuji and Amuda, and but I want to now go to something before which here are some. Ashish Gupta has thanked Bob for, I think, appreciating whatever. and here is an old friend of yours, I guess.
Ah,
Ah,
guess who this person is?
who?
It's Surojit's sister, my
Oh,
mixed
I
doubles
see. Okay,
partner. She's my mixed
okay.
doubles partner.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay,
I tell you,
fine. There you
this
are.
girl, I must relate. I'll tell you, we were playing doubles at Koshipo Club, and forgive me, Champa, I know you'd beat me on the head on this one. She's my mixed doubles partner, Amuda, and she would hate to stand in the net, and she would say that because she would feel scared, that she feel get hit by the ball. She'll tell me, Bob, you have to do the running. You got to do the running. I said, look, you stand in the net, and I'll do the running. This such a lovely girl, and we played a couple of matches together. Um, the other thing, her parents, they're coming back to the tennis world for a short while. Let's get back to the tennis world a bit. That tennis is a kind of a game where you require a lot of support system to go with a kind of a player who is her father. There was one Major Kalyan Sen. He used to keep a tab on what I was doing, and he knew when I had won a tournament. He knew when was ranked. He knew, and he would not spare me. I mean, he said, and in Bengali he would say, and I'll translate it in Hindi also. He'll say, "Ei je eshe geche under 18 chele." Now I used to be very big. I was not looking under 18. And I said, "No, Baba, listen, I am 18. I had to prove it to him and everything else." He said, AJ Shigachi. So he knew. And if I was ranked number 2, then he would ask me, Kiholo, huh? What happened? Which girl were you looking at? Etc. What made you lose the match? So very, very supportive. Major Kola, that is Shuruji's father, Major, and the mother. She was such a loving person, and she would look after me. And these are people who, because tennis gave me confidence. Playing good tennis gave me confidence. And there were there were very few people who would really encourage me, and their parents were the ones who did that for me. And
Babuji, I'll come back to the tennis of those days. And Champa, will you please tell Shurujit that we are missing him? That I just wanted to say that because we were expecting him today. And there is, of course, another friend of yours, Muralidharan Jagannathan,
ah,
who has
ah,
wished you all the best. And
ah,
Falguni
yeah,
says, agrees that absolute Bob, you hit the nail, and she is enjoying your discussion. Thank you very much, Falguni. Amuda has made a point. I'll come to that point a little later. But before that, I want to ask you something. This is since we are talking tennis in the 70s, late 60s and 70s. Late
Mm-hmm.
60s and 70s, 1965, we are in the challenge round, that famous match with Cock and Mandarino at the South
mm,
Club, and
yeah,
Krishnan wins it after all that happened, right? So
yeah,
that is the time when we were all very much in Kolkata, things happening. Then there is Joydeep Mukherjee and Premjit Lal.
mm,
And then comes, there is you, and Shurujit had said something which I agreed with him in one of our chats recently, that if ever there was a chap who was so agile and active on the tennis court, it was Bob Seshadri. Like you
mm.
could run across the court and down the court and do everything with such ease. You really worked hard at it. But at that point of time, what was the see Joydeep and Premjit were not playing. I mean, you were not in competition with them,
No, they were
but
senior to me, much
they
senior
were
to me.
senior to you, much senior to you. But what was the tennis scenario then? When you were under 13, under 14, under that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
There was a person called Albert Silliman.
Albert,
Yeah,
because
Albert Silliman.
Albert has been my batchmate from La Martiniere later. Yeah, Albert and I. Yeah, that's right, same batch. Yeah.
He was my first big win to get into the
Okay.
under 13, under 14 situation.
Oh, oh,
Yeah, so that he was ranked and Albert was very good. Then there was Chiradeep Mukherjee,
Chiradeep.
Jaideep's
Yeah,
younger
yeah,
brother, who was
yeah.
also excellent player, and at this time, and then there was during the at particular that particular era there were more players. There were some who were senior to me. I'm talking Bengal at the moment. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
talking
yeah,
the other
yeah.
states. I'm just
No.
talking Bengal here.
Hmm.
You had Narendra Singh, who used to be a top spinner.
Right, right.
Then you had Praveen Singh, his younger brother, but he didn't win as many matches as Narendra did. So these were the other two people, and there was another gentleman called Shubir Mukherjee. God knows, I lost track of him completely.
Okay.
Shubir used to be, and when we played the interstate in Allahabad, then when we were playing the Madras team. That's the time when he came in and played. Among the seniors also there was Shyam Minotra, if you
Sham
remember.
Minotra, yeah. Yeah,
There was
Sham
also
Minotra,
Vinay
I
Dhawan.
remember.
Shyam Minotra and
Yeah,
Vinay Dhawan used to play doubles together.
yeah, yeah.
I think that
Very much so.
period, and then when I moved into under 18 and I was playing 18s, I was playing this Asians. At that time, I played Alex Metrivilli in the second or third round, I don't remember, and where I was hammered, summarily hammered, of course. And then Yon Teriak, and I played Yon Teriak also. And then before that, I had beaten somebody from the English team who had come over at that time, along with
Oh.
Barry Knight or some Billy Knight, I forget, someone who was out there.
But you played against Alexis Mitrovelli.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Alex Metrivelli, Thomas Cock,
Yeah,
and then
Thomas Cock, yeah. Okay,
Thomas. No,
right.
no, sorry.
No,
My
not Thomas
apologies.
Cock. That was
Not
before
Thomas.
your time. Yeah,
Alex
Alexis, yeah.
Metrivelli and Jon Tiriac.
Yon Teriak, yeah, Yon Teriak, absolutely. They were very much in the scene, and Mitrovelli still remains the only Russian to have won the Wimbledon.
Yeah,
I think
because
till now.
yeah, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
had teams which had come along with him, and I had played. We met
Oh,
each other in various tournaments. India used to have a circuit those times. We'll move into the Indian
yeah,
circuit where you
yeah.
used to play various. Okay, quickly finishing Bengal. In
Hmm.
Bengal was such a tennis-loving community. We had tournaments in Ordnance Club. It used to be Monsoon. Yeah, it used to start with Ordnance Club, then Calcutta Hardcourt, then it was Kashipur Club, I think, and then there was Shambazar Tennis Club, and then there was Gymkhana Club. Then there was Saturday Club, Floodlit. Now all these we used to accumulate points from there, and then we were ranked based on those points.
Oh, excellent,
So they
excellent.
were all ranking tournaments in
Right,
Calcutta.
right, right, right.
Then the Indian circuit used to start somewhere at the end of the year, and then we used to play in besides the Southern India hard courts where people used to play on clay, and where you had Ananda Mritaraj, Vidya Matraj,
Hmm.
Jaikumar Rayappa, all those guys used to come in from Southern India, and then we
Yeah,
had
Jai Kumar, yes, yes.
Jaikumar
Forgot
Rayappa. I mean,
Jai Kumar
his
Appa, yeah.
most unorthodox style his wrist used to hang like that, and then he used to try to he would hit the ball cross. You never knew whether it was hitting down the line or cross court.
Oh, he was a Chandrasekhar kind of a bowler. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Okay,
his torso was small, but
okay,
his hands and legs were very long. So he
yeah.
could do all kinds of things with his thing. And
Okay,
yeah, quickly coming back, my favorite was I used to be agile on the court, yes. And my favorite shot used to be a forehand shot cross court, which was not very popular those days because you had to hit it on the wrong foot. I mean,
oh,
let me rephrase. When you hit a forehand, we all learn to use our body weight, keeping our left leg forward. Nowadays, you find people with an open stance, and you'll find even that there are lots of people, everybody, because they use a lot of shoulder and arm strength, and they use an open stance and they hit. So I used to use that open stance those days to hit a short cross court. So that used
okay.
to be my favorite one. Okay. So
Okay,
going
now
back,
one question here. One question here. Not question. Like quickly, I want to interject. 1974 or 75, I don't recall, but there was this Indian circuit happening at Netaji Indoor Stadium, which I think was won by Manuel Orantes, who
yeah,
was called as Little Manuela by Manuel Santana and all that jazz. But there was a player from Pakistan called Haroon Rahim or
Harun
Haroon
Rahim.
Rashid.
Yes,
Harun
Harun
Rahim,
Rahim.
right?
Yes.
And we were taken up by his kind of
I know Calcutta.
yeah,
We love every Calcutta. We were up in arms trying to please the Pakistani tennis player and make him feel at home. And he
yeah,
used to
yeah.
come and train with us in the morning. Yeah, yeah. Harun Rashid. Yes,
Harun
yes.
Rashid, yes, yes, he was a bad.
Correct.
Okay, now coming back, Babuji, to another. But I must tell you a small story here, but this is for the audience.
Hmm.
Uh, we started in the same school, and then I moved. My father got into a job. He was posted outside Kolkata, so I had to leave the school. I did some years in Indore in Delhi College. Then I moved to Lamatinia, Lucknow, and then my father came back to Kolkata, so I was back in Lamatinia. I was back in Kolkata. I caught up with Babuji after a long time, and here by the time he was a hero. This modeling thing hadn't happened. This I'm talking is 66, 67, around 65, around that time. But he was already into tennis, and we were reading about him in the Statesman. Statesman is to report anything of this the tennis tournament that he is talking about. That was one good thing about State Wind was they reported everything. Local matches, cricket and tennis is to be all there. And here was this very dashing and handsome Mr. Sheshadri, whom I had bumped into in Goriahat Crossing. And there he was so, I must say, his dressing sense was amazing. We were nowhere near him, we were in our usual, but he had, double colored shoes and all that kind of crap because he was a tennis player of sorts, you remember. And then what he used to do was that this is amazing. He would suddenly, you're talking to him, Kire, Kiro, Machish, and all that. Suddenly he will tell you, hey, Guttu, tu dala amar pashe, stand next to me. Nodishna. So, no, we are not moving. What's happening? There were some girls who would pass by,
Oh
and
shit!
yeah, they would all look at him. So we were, and you know what he would say? He said that, look, meaning nobody is going to look at you. So you better stand next to me, and while they look at me, you can look at them. Maybe one of them might look at you. So this game was going on in Goriahat, I think, for quite some time, and we were very envious of the fact. We were jealous of him. To tell you the truth, that exactly was the situation. We are still jealous of you. At least I am still jealous of you, and I have no qualms in doing that. We have been brothers in crime, but that's what it is.
Well, I absolutely agree with you. He still holds the charm. He's
There we
because
go.
I uploaded his. I made a birthday video for him, and we posted it on LinkedIn. And I happened to post it on my Facebook, and I have my. So he has a huge fan following, even with my friends. Even with my friends, they're like, "Oh, he
So
looks very handsome." I'm like, "Yeah, he is," and
amazing. See, that's
Uh,
coming from Amuda. Babuji, that's coming from Amuda. But Amuda has made a point over here which I want to bring up.
hmm.
You're talking about the realization is not enough, but how do we do it is also important. Very correct. Now, yeah, go on, Amuda. That's the point that you were
I
making.
have a very important question, Bob, for you. Absolutely, on your book actually.
Yeah,
So, your first book was about why, on the art of persuasion,
yeah.
and then you did a book on work-life balance, and suddenly your next book was like a totally different topic, which was on the tennis. So, what made you do that? I mean, from the art of persuasion to work life balance, what made you write your third book on the tennis, which is learn tennis or improve your tennis in 40 days?
Hmm. I'll tell you what why this happened. I was watching all our. I live in a place in Bangalore. I live in a building complex where we've got a tennis court, and I used to watch all these guys, all our players playing there, each with a different mindset. One guy who would yell at everybody if the ball was not hit close to him. The other guy would curse his partner if he misses a shot, and then I would see people trying to struggle and trying to get the ball across. I came home one day, and I was looking for something when I suddenly saw one of my trophies fell down. I have, and when it fell down, I looked at the trophy and I said, "Hey, what?" And then I looked at it. I saw there were quite a few of them which have survived over so many years. So I put them up in the showcase and I just kept them there. And I said, what's the point? I mean, what's the point in having all this knowledge if I can't exchange it, if I can't share it with people? For whatever it is worth. I mean, I would, because all my life I've done things which I can do and I've done with my own hands and learned from it.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let me put my little knowledge into a book form so that people can then learn and pick up something from that. And that started. And when I started writing that book, Amuda, everything else stopped because I realized tennis was a deep passion in me. Because even after my very bad accident on when I broke my leg, and which put an end to competitive tennis. And it was again Shurujit Sen who was there next to me all the time when I had broken my leg. And it was a very, very difficult period. And at which point, sorry, I just digressed. I just went back into time. Yeah.
You're
So
talking about the passion of tennis,
yeah, so
and
that
yeah,
stayed with me. And then when I went off to Dubai and I was playing there, and I used to watch the same thing. I used to coach. So coming back to it, when I was in India, when I saw all this, I said my point was, let me give something in very basic, simple terms for people to learn. And when I started writing the book, I couldn't stop. I just wrote it. I stopped all other projects and I just wrote this book, and I just completed it. So this is the reason why I wrote the book. And then I wrote so much, I found that there was a leftover, which I said
Mhm.
I'll put for another one. This is the
All
answer.
right. All right. Another question on your book, Bob, if I may, with the permission of Sujit. Sujit, if I may ask you
Please,
another
Amuda, this is
question.
all yours. The court is all
All
yours.
right. All right. So Bob, your next book also, so the book that we are talking about, which says "Improve Your Tennis in 4 Weeks: Tennis for Mind and Body." Uh, so I don't play tennis. So I don't play tennis, but I've been reading your books. I've read the last two books as well. So what is the message that you would like to? So is there a message for the people who are non-tennis players also there in the book, or is it just for the tennis lovers?
Uh, okay. Wow. I never, no, I should have expected such questions from you. All right.
Or you
Yeah.
work with an intelligent girl? I
Yeah.
keep.
Yeah. Now, yeah. What happens is, this is also for non-tennis players. Okay, let me put it straight away. When one dwells into this, actually it will be more so in my next book, which will talk about tennis strategies, but it is also there in this particular book, where your mind is in a particular zone. What happens is, you get a lot of aggression. You come and exhibit a whole lot of aggression. Whatever that you felt at work and different places, you come and try and show that on the court. You start hitting the ball very hard. You blast the hell out of it, and you don't spare yourself. Now, first thing is to be kind to yourself. Make room for your own weaknesses and make room for others' weaknesses. That way, it's a far more pleasant experience. So this is one of the underlying messages. Make room for inconsistencies which can happen. Yes, give it time. Give yourself time. Know that there are weaknesses in you. Know that there are weaknesses in others as well. Accept both. Accept them and make room, so that then we can be a much more friendlier society, one, and you can enjoy life much more, much calmer, with much more peace. So this is one of the meanings that is there. Another thing is zoning. I'm sure Chompa there knows what would have noticed this. Whenever I used to come on to play a match or a tournament, I used to wish my opponent in the dressing room normally. And after that, when I step out, I wouldn't look at the crowd. I wouldn't look at anybody. I wouldn't look at anything. I'll just go onto the tennis court and I'll be playing, and I'll start tapping the ball and I'll start knocking. And I get into a different frame, into a different world. Now, without realizing, we all do that. Amuda, you do that too. When you get into a work situation, when we get into a particular zone where nothing else bothers, nothing else matters. And that is the zone that we need to be in and come out. Be in and come out. Because only when you come out do you realize whether you have been following something which is not the right thing to do at that particular point.
Right.
So,
So, yeah. So another question for you is, so you've been working for 40 years, as we get to read in your books, as you've mentioned, or as somebody, as Amuda, who personally know you and I've worked with you. Has this playing tennis or this sportsmanship helped you in your work-life balance, in your career, or in the work that you do? Because if I read the preface of the book, it also says how important emotions are when you are playing tennis. So how about you bring some light onto that topic?
yeah, yeah. Let's do that. Um,
I hope I'm not taking away the screen space from Sujit.
no,
No, no, no, no, no. This is it's my job to facilitate y'all to take up the screen space while I stay in the background. Go ahead.
I wish I had known you're going to ask these questions. I would have been better prepared. But then, off the cuff is always better. So let me address it. emotions. To start with, being good at something, anything, any sport, anything, gives you a certain amount of confidence. It did that for me because I had lost my father very early in my life. And so I was being brought up by my mother. And I needed a certain amount of confidence in myself. So tennis gave me that. That is the first thing. From an emotional perspective, another, that built a lot into me. That's one aspect. Second, the emotional aspects of it during my career. When I used to play tennis, when I used to watch the ball, now in between matches, in between uh, games, like we used to change sides every odd game we would change. I would sit down and think what I did in the previous. Now I would do that every year in business. After the first quarter, I would sit down and check. Almost after every 4 weeks, when I used to get my management accounts in, I would think, where did I go? What could I have done better? What could I have done better? And there was a person called Justin Barnett who had influenced this as well. So in tennis, we do this. I mean, after you play with your opponent for some time, then you'll notice that he doesn't like to come to the net. So you bring him to the net, and then you lob him, send him out. Now, these are things that you do in tennis, which you can apply in your practical life, in your work life as well. When you're when which is the right time when you need to enter the market? Where is it that you need to place? What will be the staging? What is the arena that you need to be in? So what would be the differentiators that you need to do? How different do you have to play to make a difference in the marketplace? What should be your strategies, which should be the different, which should be the what should be the steps of the strategies that will take you there, that will take you to that point where you will win a point or win a game? Because it's a long haul. We are not here for short times. I mean, we are here for a long haul. I mean, the kind of work and the business and the things that we do is for long term. And from an emotional perspective, what happens? Because we are also leading. Now look at the housewives that are there. Now there are more people. The women are there working. They're looking after their irritable husbands, irate husbands. May not be so. They may be the sweetest people on the planet, but then they have to look after the kids. They might have to look after the pets. They have to do everything else and still manage the job or the passion or whatever that is there. So
Okay.
there,
Yeah.
these are the
So,
games.
what the second part of my question was on the sportsmanship. So, how did that help you in what you did for 40 years? As you've played the tennis at the national level. So, how did that help you, the sportsmanship? And you also mentioned about the loss of your father. So, how did all of this help you to become a better person or a better professional? And definitely after this, I have one more question for you.
There are few things that came through, Amuda. One, I used to learn. We learn every day of our lives. We learn every day, everything. Only we need to see. There used to be, I'm wrong. Let me rephrase. There's a lady called Kiran. She's called Kiran Bedi nowadays. She used to be called Kiran Peshavaria. Kiran and Rita Peshavaria. Kiran Bedi now, right? Now, while she used to come from Delhi to play, she used to be in Chandigarh those days. When we used to play tennis, we sometimes had to play 2 matches in a day during the initial rounds. I would notice her reading a textbook between matches. She used to study for the IAS or something at that time, and she used to read her textbook between matches. Now, something went into my head. I said, look, learning is there. Now, for me, I had to learn. I wanted to learn every time. Everything that was new, I would look at anybody. One day I was walking through the workshop. As I was walking through the workshop, there was a Pakistani technician. He said, Assalamu alaikum. I said, Kaif halik, Zain, alhamdulillah, and all the rest. He said, sir, I एक ख्वाहिश है आपसे बोलना है एक चीज ख्वाहिश है क्या है बताओ. Says, told me in a nutshell to walk from the workshop to the parts department used to take him 10 minutes, and he had to spend 15 minutes at the parts counter to pick up his parts and then come back to the workshop and deliver it there. I realized, and you know what I'm talking about, Amuda, how much of workshop time is lost. Now,
Absolutely.
Now, these are the things that I used to pick up immediately, asking questions from people, whoever they were, because I used to do something called um, managing business by walking around. I used to say that was a more important thing. I used to walk around, I used to learn, I used to pick up things. And as I used to go, and I used to then move and then, okay, apply it and see how it works. Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, if at every step of my life, I've never stopped learning. And as Bhuttu just mentioned some time ago, the day we stop doing something, the day we stop learning, we stop completely. Because there is so much to know every day from everything, from everybody, whoever it is.
Absolutely.
Well,
Okay.
guys, I must tell you, I'm just butting in right now on two points. One is an immediate question, which is that where is your book available, Babuji? मिलता
It's on.
कहाँ है?
So now, yeah, very quickly, this book is available right now, but I would recommend in Amazon. On Amazon, if you go and click Bob Seshadri, you will see, spelling my name right as Seshadri, you'll see my books out there. And uh, but I would recommend that you buy, whoever buys the books, it to be bought, because there is a price staggered promotion which starts at 12 a.m. Pacific daytime tomorrow, which is I suppose 12 p.m. our time tomorrow. So I would recommend that you start buying the books right then, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, and the pricing would be, the special pricing would be there from that day onwards. The rest of the books are available on my website, on my author page, which is www.amazon.com/author/Bob Seshadri.
Great. So there is a, and this is going to be on a discount, I suppose that all
Yes,
this.
yes, which is why I said tomorrow, from day after tomorrow, it will be on a discounted price. So this is the right time to buy it, and and then and
Okay.
then let me know and write it. I mean, whoever buys it, please write a review and let me know how I can, because I'll
Yes, please,
respond to
important.
everything.
Write the review, and you can even write a review on the book in our website Kahani Kancheti, because we carry reviews of books, and this will be an excellent one to carry through. But Mr. Sheshadri sir, বাংলায় বলা যেতে না যে কালকে 12টার পর থেকে ভাই Pacific time 12 a.m. Oh man, I
ওটা
mean, like,
ওটা
I get it.
না, ওরা বলেছে ওই রকম, because
আচ্ছা,
that is what it says on Amazon, PDT. So I
right.
keep on calculating PDT to Indian time.
All right, so it's 12 o'clock tomorrow Indian time. But one more thing, this I must
Am I
compliment both of
right?
you.
Is it right? Is it 12 o'clock
Who?
Indian time
Oh,
tomorrow?
we'll find out. It must be because it's a
No, it
12
must
hour
be day
difference.
after tomorrow then.
Day after tomorrow. Day after
Ah,
tomorrow, 12. That's Tuesday. Tuesday. And
Tuesday.
another thing which I think, very seriously, I thought this was going to be, and I was, at some point of time, I thought Amuda was going to tell us, ki ye kahan laaye ho? Because this was going to become, like old tube kids going back in time, which we have been doing. But now what I suddenly realized is that y'all are talking very serious and important stuff. And let me tell you, it just gave me an idea that Kahani Kancheti will be very happy to host y'all if y'all are doing a life work balance session, because y'all are talking serious business. I mean, what I thought was going to be tennis and improving tennis in 40 days to some amount of life and how to work that out, and with Amuda talking, you having done that. But I think now I've just struck upon me that I think we have reached a kind of we have touched upon very serious things about, general improvement, professional improvement, and life improvement. So do tell me, we'll be very happy to host one session for a work-life balance chat show like the one we are doing today, maybe in a slightly bigger scale. We must talk about it because we really, I mean, suddenly this thing has taken on a different perspective. And what next books,
Well,
Babuji?
well, isn't Bob known for it? Well, Bob
Well,
is known
he,
for it, right? You
well,
can't just satisfy him with a tennis ball. Sujit, you know him longer than I do.
yeah, exactly. So,
Entire lawn, he needs the entire tennis court all for himself.
we will do that. We'll give you a tennis court. Please come and play. Please come and play, and let's
Yeah,
get an
yeah.
audience. Let's get an
I'll tell
audience
you.
and let's do it. And you're writing some more books on tennis, if I have got you right, because there is
There
a
are,
book you're
yeah,
doing on
there are
singles
there are
and doubles. Yeah.
there are two books on the anvil at the moment. One, of course, one is the extension to this book on tennis, where I'll be talking about strategies of tennis, like how do you play doubles, which is the best positions to play doubles, best positions to play singles, where to hit the ball all the time, how do you get the ball over the net, where do you have to do it so that you're consistent. So strategies would be a separate piece, but I'm going to hold that for a little while, and start off on something called the neophyte manager. The neophyte manager is a story about it's yeah it's about a new manager. What happens to him, and what is it that the new manager has to face on the desk? What is it that what is its desk? What is he got to be ready for? So this is called the neophyte manager, and the and almost 10 to 15% of the book is based on accounts, on certain amount of management information that a manager has to understand. Now, why did I come to this? That's because in the motor industry, largely we keep promoting people from the ranks, and we get them to supervisory positions, and then we make them managers. Now, at times, we get a lousy manager, and we've lost a good salesman, right? So, how do you draw a balance? How do you make sure that this particular individual who's now been promoted is ready? Now, again, as I said some time ago, I whatever has happened to me is from what I've learned. The first thing that happens is that when you get a bunch of management of night, I had a young executive whom I had promoted, and when I gave him this bunch, and he looked at it and he kept it in his drawer, the last drawer. And at some point, and that's crossed my mind. I said that I gave him this book, all right, I let it be. So at some point, I had asked him, hey, tell me the results. What is the work in progress that you have at the moment? What is the total quantity that are there? What was it last month? And he didn't have an answer. Then I discovered that he is being very scared of this bunch of paper, and he looks at it and he puts it back, and then he walks across, gains courage to the accountant to explain to him what it all meant. Now, the accountant has been trained in accountancy. He's with a different thought process. The way he'll explain is different to the way this individual is going to understand, because he comes from sales and marketing. Now, that then whatever that accountant had said goes over his head, and he runs away, comes back with his bunch of accounts paper, shoves it under the desk, and avoids me like hell for the next couple of days. So this is something that I wanted to address. I said, let me put it in a simplified form, not the whole, till the balance sheet and profit and loss situation, which I'll shift to another book, but at least the initial bit, so that a manager, besides knowing leadership skills, team building, and the rest, also has a basic knowledge of accounts. So I've compiled all that together and put it in a book, and I'm calling it the neophyte manager, who's sitting there meditating, kind of a thing. That's sort of a cover.
Excellent. This
I
is, I
wanted to
think, a
make it as
very
short as
useful.
possible, but yeah.
It's a very useful. I'm sure this is going to be very useful. But let me ask you, this story that you mentioned, that this guy, he goes to the accountant and says to explain the whole thing, which the accountant does in his own way, which he can't understand. It's all understandable. But I bet this accountant is a guy from the south. He must be a South Indian. I mean, you can't have a North Indian accountant trying to do that. Only a South Indian accountant must have, been responsible for him to run away. So that I taking it from, and Amuda, take it as a spirit of fun. Any case, you straddle both the south and north.
I
So
I absolutely took it as a compliment, because whenever I am in a training program, like a little bit about me is I'm from a hardcore technical background, and one was IT for the first 8 years, and then the next 10 years is with automotive sector. So it's a normal notion with the guys that a woman can't be technically sound. So when I am in a room, there's one thing which I tell them is like I'm a deadly combination of a South Indian, which is about intelligence, and a Punjabi, which is all about this smartness. So I am a deadly combination out there. So
I totally
well,
agree with you. Totally agree with you. Well, I think we have to now. We have had a very long session. Um, and as Amuda has said here, that there are two factors about this book. She has summed it up very well. She says that it's not only do this and do that, but also how to do this and do that. That is what I think makes your book stand out and make it so special. And I think just for the heck of it, Babuji, 12 o'clock Pacific time, whatever that shit that is, I'm also going to try and go to Amazon and get a copy of that book on Kindle and read it, and then I'll take you on that. Well, uh, I wanted to now take the opportunity as we are closing the session to. Uh, by the way, there's one thing I forgot to mention about him. He's still Babuji Bob Seshadri is still chasing birds, but this time it's of the feathery type. If you go to his Facebook page, you will find birds and birds and birds. It seems that the birds actually model for him. They give him poses, they stand, they talk. I don't know how you do it. I don't even want to know. I would have asked you if it was the birds of the other variety, but feathery variety, please go ahead as you feel free, as always. And maybe we'd like to see some more pictures, but really amazing photograph that you put up, Babuji. It's
Thank
very
you. Thank you so
great.
much. Thank you.
So we wanted to thank all our guests. I mean, first our visitors to our this show today, and I hope you enjoyed. There's not so much other than just catching up old friends, and those you can please tell people to go to our YouTube. It will be up there in another 2 hours time. This whole program, as it is unedited, will be up there. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Go to our website, and some of the reviews that you all are going to do on him, you can send it to Kahani Kanchiti. We will have it published with Mr. Seshadri sitting exactly where he is sitting right now. And Amuda, thank you very much for coming in such a short notice. And this is what I was really looking forward, and you did it for us. You took over the whole show. You took over the discussion, and that's exactly I said. Okay, chalo, mere ko kuch nahi karna hai. So that is what it is. And well, Babuji, we continue to run our story of now for the 66th or 67th year. We will
Yeah.
keep on doing that. And thank you very much for having come to this platform of Kahani Kacheti. And I hope to see you all soon. But don't forget what I said. Please do a real session on trying to get people and talk about the work-life balance. This is
Certainly.
really difficult.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
must.
Like I said, this is just not some words. You know, it has a
Exactly.
real lot of meaning, and it has to be given that importance. And what I like about Bob, as I mentioned earlier, is everybody will walk up to you and say, hey, you know what, Sujit, you need to get some work life balance, dude, you need to stress less and stuff like that, but nobody tells you how to do it. So that's one
That's
amazing
it.
thing which you'll get to see in Bob's book. Number one. Number two, I think what you will get to see is in books is his books are very related. It's not like that you will have an A and then you suddenly will come to a D and then you will come to a
Right,
B
right,
and then suddenly you'll go to an X. What we also call it as the most difficult part in the conversation on in our life, which is called the channelizing and the
right.
channelizing of the energy, which you will
Correct.
get to see in his books. And I think that's what he brings in. It's not like that, today he's sitting and having a cuppa of a coffee and he said, oh, let me write about this. And then suddenly he'll say, oh, I like the sambar tomorrow. So hey, let me write about that. He doesn't do that. It's a lot of thought process. All his books are related, and I think that's what makes him a valuable author. So Bob, just
Thank
keep
you.
rocking, and we love you for what you do.
Thank you so
And
much.
keep posting the pictures of the birds, like Sujit said. And thank you so much for having us today. Thank you so much,
Thank
Sujit.
you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much. Thank you very
Sujit.
much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
It's
Thank
Take
you,
care.
great,
everyone.
great
Take
to
care.
be on
See
this.
you
Bye.
soon.
Take
Take
care.
care. Okay, bye.
Bye.